There's one thing that determines whether you walk out of family court with your children or without them. And it's not having the best attorney. It is not having the most money. And it is not having even the most evidence. If you don't understand what that one thing actually is, well, you're going to hand the other side exactly what they need in order to win in family court. By the end of this video, you are going to understand the 10 biggest mistakes that parents make in family court. Mistakes that I've seen destroy custody cases. I want to talk about exactly what to do instead so you can walk into that courtroom prepared and strategic and in control, because that is key. My name is Bridget, and I am a high conflict custody and divorce coach and a legal strategist with over 20 years in the legal field. I represented myself in family court against a high conflict co parent. It was a nightmare. And I walked out having one sole custody of my children. If you're new here and you have not subscribed yet, I want you to hit that subscribe button and that bell right now, because this channel is about educating you, giving you strategies for documentation, teaching you how to communicate better, and court preparation so that you can protect your kids and your case. And stop surviving and reacting emotionally, and let's start winning. All right, so let's get right into it. The first mistake that I see is letting your emotions run the show in family court, right? Our emotions can always get the better of us. And why does this happen? Well, you have been through trauma, you are triggered, and our traumatic brain is really emotionally reactive, right? And your kids are involved. So this is high emotional stakes, anyways. Why does this hurt you in family court? Well, judges are watching your behavior, and emotional outburst signal instability. It will affect your credibility more than you think. So, what do we do instead? Well, it's important that we regulate our nervous system before walking into the courtroom as best as we can, and have tactics, tools, strategies that we can implement to help us regulate while in the courtroom. You're going to implement the BIF method in terms of your responses, especially when on the stand, when providing testimony, when addressing the court, and neutral body language. Look, I know this is hard. I know that the courtroom is not the place to be, especially after you have endured so much trauma. You don't want to be there. I get it. But the courtroom is not the place that you want the other side to see you break, because then your high conflict X wins. All right, the second mistake that I see is not documenting consistently. Well, what do I mean by that, right? Do you have to document every single day? Well, no, but do you have a consistent way of keeping record? Why does this happen? Well, for the obvious reasons, right? You're an exhausted single parent. You're overwhelmed. Life is chaotic. Life is busy with kids. And you are the parent that is consistently showing up for them. Well, when we're not consistent in our documentation, this hurts us, because without documentation, it is your word against theirs. And judges hate the he said, she said. And in fact, it can really kind of come into this area of hearsay. So we want to be careful. What we can do instead? Well, you're going to document everything. You're going to have the date, the time, what was said. You have screenshots, you have photos, were there witnesses? Documentation is your armor in family court, and if it is not written down, it did not happen. The third mistake that I see: communicating emotionally with your co parent. Why does this happen? Well, they provoke you, they gaslight you, they push every single one of your buttons because they know which buttons to push to get you to react. That's their goal. And in fact, this ends up hurting us, because emotional text, ranty messages, emails, they all become evidence that is used against you in family court with your high conflict ex. So instead, what we learn how to do is implement the BIF method, which was created and adopted by Bill Eddy, and that is brief, informative, friendly, and firm communication. And we're only going to be talking about co parenting topics, basically the logistics, right? So Every single message that you send is a potential exhibit that is going to be used in family court against you. The fourth mistake that I see is talking badly about the other parent in front of the kids. Just don't do it. And, why does this happen in the first place? I don't think that it's intentional on your part, but, you're in pain. You want the kids to maybe understand the truth. You want them to see the other parent for who they really are. This hurts you. Children are going to spit back out the information that they have heard. Custody evaluators are going to catch it, right? Judges are going to penalize this type of behavior. So instead, what we can do is we want to implement parallel parenting using the BIF method, keeping the kids completely out of adult conflict. Do not put your children in the middle of adult conflict. It's not going to help you. Your ex is putting them in the middle of adult conflict. That doesn't mean that you have to do the same. The fifth mistake that I see is you're going to court unprepared. I know it seems strange to say this at this juncture, but why does this happen? Well, people assume that the judge is going to see the truth. I cannot tell you how many comments I read on social media of the judge. I had all this evidence. The judge should have seen it. The judge should have understood it. Why didn't they see the truth? Or I gave all of my evidence to my attorney and they didn't do anything with it. We'll get to that in a minute. But why does this hurt you, right? The other side is going to be prepared. They have been building a case against you all along. Their attorney is, well, they have this goal of attacking your credibility. So they're going to be prepared. And a way of attacking your credibility is if you are unprepared. So what we can do instead is you need to know your case. Organize your evidence. You can also work on anticipating arguments. You and I both know that you're aware of the argument that your ex is going to bring to court and what you can do to combat that. What evidence do you have to disprove them, to discredit it? The truth alone does not win family court cases. Preparation and strategy wins. The sixth mistake that I see is oversharing on social media. It's sad that I have to say this. And why this happens is you need support. And I get it. I used to be that person, right? You're venting. You want people to know what is happening. You want validation for what you're experiencing, for what you're living through. Well, why does this hurt you? Every post, photo, the check-ins to locations, comments, they're all screenshots that your ex is going to use as evidence against you. I'll never forget, while I was still in my custody battle, I had shared a video. There was something that had happened in my case. And in fact, my ex had filed a bogus restraining order with false allegations. And he did this in retaliation for a restraining order that I had just filed. And he was served the morning of his filing, or the evening before he filed, I think is what it was. And what he ended up doing was filing this, and a judge gave him his restraining order and gave him custody of our children for several weeks. I did not have access to my kids. I was not able to talk to my kids, see my kids, any of it. And I posted a video on social media about what he had done. And before I could bat an eyelash, blink my eyes, the video was downloaded. I removed it shortly after, but he already had the video. And it was played at family court, and I called him an asshole in the video. Not my finest moment. That's why I'm trying to give you this information to save you from making mistakes that I made, right? How did I learn? What did I learn? If I could go back and do these things over again, I would do so many things differently and better. So what can we do instead, right? You need to go dark on social media when you are in litigation. Everything you post can and will be used against you. Scrub everything on your social media, lock it down. Have the highest privacy settings known to man. Be very cautious as to what you are posting in public forums, and the internet is forever. The seventh mistake that I see, violating the court order. Even if it's a small violation, I don't want to hear that he did it too, and that's not fair. I know, I get it. right? But why does this happen? Well, there might be a part of your order that seems unreasonable, or the situation might feel urgent, right? Your ex is not responding. You need to make a decision. So therefore, you went and made it. This hurts you because one violation can cost you your credibility with the judge, or even worse. And your ex and their attorney are going to have a field day with your violation. Even if he's got 20 violations of the custody order, that one thing that you did to violate the order is going to be used against you. Instead, you need to follow the order. To save yourself from this, you follow the order as written. If something in your order needs to change, then you file a motion to modify through the proper legal channels, but you are not going to sway from the order. You're following it. You don't want to give your ex any kind of ammunition. Follow the order, and then you can fight to implement changes when appropriate. Are you tracking their violations? Right? Track their violations. This is part of your documentation for at least 6 months before you decide to make a move in family court. The eighth mistake that I see is assuming that your attorney will handle everything. Now, we touched on this a little bit before, right? Why does this happen? Well, you hired the attorney and you think that is their job. Not accurate. Your attorney is a litigator. Their job is not to really build your case for you. This hurts you because attorneys are not with you daily. They don't see everything that you're seeing. They don't know everything that you know, and you know your case better than anyone else, better than me, better than an attorney. And so it is up to you to give them your evidence and your documentation and build the case that is on a silver platter that makes their job easier. If not, you're going to be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars for a family law attorney when you could have been saving money by doing some of these things on your own. Instead, it's important, right? You've got to become like the CEO of your own case in family court, staying involved, organized, informed. This is all really important. Mistake number 9, underestimating the impact of DARVO. Why do I see this happening? Well, largely because people don't know what DARVO is yet. They learn about DARVO after it's already happened. Why this hurts us? Well, your abuser denies, attacks, reverse victim and offender rule. And it works on untrained professionals. Many of them are untrained. They don't understand coercive control. They don't understand domestic violence the way that I do, the way that you're learning to identify. I think it's really important instead that we name it for what it is, we document what's happening, and you educate your attorney on coercive control dynamics, right? DARVO is a manipulation tactic, and it is designed to flip the script. If you learn how to recognize it, you can expose it. Mistake number 10, giving up. Why does this happen? Well, you're in a broken system. The system is by design to exhaust you. It is expensive. It is a multi-billion-dollar business model, and it's often unfair. Family court is a cottage industry. And, if you give up, this hurts you because your children are going to be impacted. They need you to stay in the fight. As now an adult child of a high conflict divorce, I'll tell you what it feels like as a child for your parent to give up. You feel hopeless. You feel like you were not maybe worth fighting for. And no child deserves to feel that way. Instead, it's important that we get support. Have a support system in place. Support people that you trust. Get a strategy. Implement your strategy. Getting someone in your corner that has been there and walked this path is going to be game-changing for you. This is the most important thing that you can do for yourself, is finding someone that you can confide in that will support you and understands what it is that you're experiencing. If I did not have a support system in place throughout my battle in family court, I don't know if I would have survived it. I had an amazing co-parenting coach help me with communication, help me understand how to document in a better way. And I represented myself. I also worked with Pattern Viewer, and Pattern Viewer analyzed all of my written communication. That report changed my life change the trajectory of my case, and help save me and my children. An amazing therapist. I had a few friends that I confided in that believed me and helped sit with me. They would just sit with me, even if it was on Zoom, to help me organize my evidence. In your family court, by default, is not fair. It can be navigated. You can come out on the other side. I am living proof that you can. So it doesn't boil down to who has the most money or the best attorney, because I didn't have any money as a single mom. I was broke. I didn't have the money to pay an attorney. I represented myself, and I won. You will win in family court if you are the most prepared, strategic, and you can keep your emotions out of the game, and you're consistent. You are consistently showing up for your child. I've made every mistake on this list that I've shared with you at some point or another in my journey, and I ended up winning because I learned from those mistakes and I changed them. If I can do it, I know you can too. If this video helped you, if even one of these mistakes is something that resonated with you today and you needed to hear, I want you to hit that follow button, because I post regular content like this, providing you strategies, education, and tips on communication in a high conflict custody dynamic. Heck, we prepare for court. We discuss all of the different things that are happening in family court, from mediation to a pretrial conference to discovery to your trial date. I have been through what you're going through right now. You don't have to figure this out alone. I see you, I believe you, and I will see you in the next one.